Alrighty, so today we are going to be talking about Dokkan hot takes. Something to get you guys involved. I want to hear what you're thinking about the game right now. What is on your mind? What do you think is underrated? What do you think is overrated? What do you like? What do you don't like? It's just fun to do to get the community involved, right? That's always a fun way to do things for the videos, because I get to hear from you guys, and I'm sure it gets kind of tiring hearing my opinions on everything. So I asked you guys, right? During this dry period, which I feel like I've been saying for a month now, I'm kind of tired of saying it, but we have a Dokkan Fest announcement coming up soon, so that's cool. That will be at like the fest or whatever they're doing, a real life event. So that's very, very, very cool. So what I did was I asked you on a YouTube community post, not on Twitter. I don't have motion on Twitter. Y'all, if you're on Twitter and you don't follow me, go follow me on Twitter at Vilify, right? The link is in the description. I want to be able to have multiple sources for community feedback, and that is one of the best places to do it. So follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. But I asked you guys yesterday, because Dokkan is very slow right now, I want to hear your Dokkan hot takes. Leave some spicy opinions you have on the game for a chance to be featured in the video. Love you guys, which I do, right? You guys are the best. So if we go down here to the comments, we have 107 comments, so thank you guys for the support. Didn't think this would do that well, but I do appreciate it. We're not going to be able to do 107 hot takes in here unless we start seeing some repeat offenders in terms of like the same take, but let's go ahead and see what you guys got today for us. So this is going to be one of those videos where it's more you want to listen on the second monitor or whatever on your phone. It's probably going to be a little bit better for that, so just keep that in mind. Right off the bat, add SSR units that are 5 years old to the friend summons. Sure. I don't hate that. That's the problem with that is I don't really feel like that's a hot take, right? But I agree, right? Like, so here's, I guess there's two sides to this, right? Is this a good idea? Sure. But do we want to use our friend point summons on like regular friend summons? This is more of a person-to-person basis, right? Where it's like, do we want these units in the friend summons? I don't hate the idea, but the problem with that right now, at least I think, is the fact that with these friend points, is this like easy to do? Gotcha points. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so it's this right here, right? Like, this is when you should be summoning on this because of the fact that you can get Kais. So I guess like the counter to that is like they would be in here anyway, right? So I guess, yeah, that would work. Like, that's the point of doing friend summons these days, is just stacking your points up and then using them when you can get Kais. So if they were in the pool, I think that would be fine. Yeah, like, why not put like the non-Dokkan Fest SSRs in here, right? Dokkan Fest I don't think should count. Like, this guy should not be in there. Right. Where's another Dokkan Fest? This guy should not be in there. I think that's a little too overpowered, and allows players to have a little bit too much access to everything. But it wouldn't really, like, because they give these characters out for free now, right? With the purple stones and the red stones and the rainbow stones and all that fun stuff. That would be like, yeah, I don't think that's too spicy of a take. I kind of like that one right off the bat, right? I wouldn't hate that. I think it takes a little too much work for the devs and they wouldn't do it. But if it was up to me, I'd probably agree with that. Add SSR units to the friend summons. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's a good take. Put commas on the damage numbers. Yeah, but also interesting. Yeah, I suppose that wouldn't hurt, but like it does make things a little bit easier. Like, it's not like the number between like the so like if you do like a 90 million attack stat and it crits for like 74 million because like damage reduction and things like that. I think that like it's easy enough to understand that, but yeah, I mean, it's easier to read, right? Less confusing. I think that would make sense. This is like one of those classic cases where in the Japanese version of the game, on the power level system, there is no commas, right? That is like something that can be a little bit of an issue at times, not being able to see, like, sometimes it's a little bit tricky to tell what your power level is on JP when you're kind of looking at it, right? I do think that is kind of funny that it ends up working out that way. But yeah, I don't see any reason to not do this. Commas on the damage numbers, it would make it a little bit easier to understand like how much exact damage you did and stuff like that. I think that's not a horrible idea. Good take, if you will. I need something here that I like vehemently like disagree with. We should never forgive Dokkan for the way they treated Blue Kaioken Goku and Daima 3 Vegeta. Yeah, see, again, like that's I agree. Never forgive Dokkan, I think, is a bit aggressive, but yeah, those characters weren't very good. Heck, Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, me, right? Like just two thumbs down. And Daima Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, I think their hearts were in the right place with how they wanted to design that character. It just was not executed well enough. And what I really like about Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta is the social media team did a like campaign, not a campaign, but like a tweet, like talking about how to use this character. I don't know if I'd be able to find that. But like basically what they said was like, here's how you're supposed to use this character, which is usually something that you don't see from Dokkan, right? I think that like I wish that they would do that more because it again like it makes it more understandable for newer players for like how to get like to use characters. I think that would make sense. But yeah, like that sucks. That Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, the pre-GDC period, he was like the main reason that the game felt so dry, aside from the way that they handled the Dokkan Fest and like the LR after that, right? Like we went like from a stretch of PyCon into Tao into TN, who are all fine characters, but they aren't like Dokkan / community / YouTube hype, right? Like people don't really care. No, I don't really feel like most people are reinstalling the game or coming back after 6 years to come play for Mercenary Tao and TN, right? That's kind of just the way that things work. So yeah, that would make sense. Physical Tao is one of the most fun and underrated units of all time. Okay, now this is where things are like good, right? This is like fun and underrated. What is fun about Tao? And I'm not saying there's not, but like, I guess it's like the fact that he has such high attack potential with an enemy that is stunned and all that fun stuff. Yeah, like he's an orb changer and he has a good leader skill with Earthbred Fighters, mission execution, right? Like this guy gives access to Glorio on Earthbred Fighters, which is really valuable. I talk about that usually when I talk about this character. He has certainly led his controversy, right? Just due to the fact that so many people like do not care about Tao. And like, again, the dead period of the summer this year, before GDC was spearheaded by this Tao right here, right? Like he was the face of it. And I do think that this is a good character, and like especially if you use him in something like Battle Hard and Formidable Foes, you're really going to be able to see how valuable this character can be and how fun they can be. But something like this is a good time, right? Like there's no denying that. Like when you can get up to like 1,000% attack in before even doing anything, right? Like you're a little low on HP. You get him turn 2 in Battle Hard and Formidable Foes. You get tagged by a super or something. You take half your HP. You get Tao. He stuns them, and then you get 1,000% attack. Like that's a good time. I can definitely concede that. I think that is a pretty fun time. But when it comes to underrated, I feel like most people sort of knew how good he was. They just didn't like the character. So I'll agree with you that he's one of the more fun characters to use. But like when you get into all time stuff, like you're like we're comparing him to like on release AGL UI Goku, on release Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, on release Beast Gohan, right? Just think about like any character that's extremely hyped that you had a really fun time using. Just line it up with that, right? Like I don't think Tao is necessarily fitting into that build, right? Especially because he's a TUR, so less animations, less unique mechanics, right? He doesn't have a tag, he didn't have a revive, he didn't have all these crazy things that made some of the LRs in the game like really, really crazy. So again, not saying you're wrong, but I don't know if I would necessarily, line my thought process up with that one, unfortunately. But next up, they need to find a way to condense the storage. Great game, but it's a little over 20 gigs. Yeah. Again, not really a hot take there. Dokkan's just a big game, and I am sort of the camp where I see where people are coming from, but I also maybe it would just have to come down to optional downloads. That would probably be the way that I would do it, right? Because I like the game looking the best it could possibly look, especially from a YouTuber perspective, right? I'm playing the game on camera. People are seeing me play the game. It's nice to have like the best visuals possible and all of that fun stuff, but I definitely can see where you're coming from, where I can't speak for everybody, like what the storage on your phone is, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and tell you like, oh, just get a better phone. That's it. That's ignorant. It's I would hate to have to say like you have to choose between games. So optional downloads, right? Like what would that take? Like maybe the mode where the key spheres look a little more detailed, you don't have to download that. You could just do the lower, like the color correction, or like the enhanced color quality. You could get rid of that. That could potentially be something that they could do for the storage. I really don't know what else, right? Yeah, it's tough. I don't know how they would do that. Like, are they not compressing things properly? Because I think that happens with the global version from the JP version, where like global gets the files from JP, and it's like their compression is weird, and sometimes the animation quality looks a little different on global. So it's a whole thing. But I wouldn't say that's a bad idea, because 20 gigs, like that is something I see all the time, where it's like storage is a bit aggressive on this game, and I can definitely agree with that. It's especially considering what it is, where it's not like an open world RPG or something. Like you think about something like Genshin Impact or something that's just like a huge game. That is not the case for Dokkan. You are just going into these little fights, you're clicking bubbles, right? It's nowhere near as like graphically taxing as something like a game like Genshin Impact. And this isn't a Genshin Glaze. I'm just thinking of like an open world gacha that people play. Frieza's side of Golden Frieza and Gogeta is hot ass. Oof. Hot ass. That's a take. I think it's just more underwhelming. The ability to have his taunt, I think, is good. But the team restriction can be a bit frustrating. But you just run him on the Omega Shenron team and it's fine. I disagree. I don't think, like, when we're talking about hot ass, we're talking about this, right? Like, we're talking about Blue Kagen Goku. We're talking about like who's really bad on release. This is where things actually get tricky, right? Because Dokkan, I think, in terms of just like straight up bad characters, like just nothing burgers, 0 units, like it just hasn't really been that way, especially with LRs this year, right? Because if we start from the 10th anniversary and we just look at LRs, like this was not a 0, not a 0, 2 not zeros. People want to say this unit was a 0, but I think that's a bit aggressive, right? Same thing with Evolution Blue Vegeta. Demon King Piccolo, free to play, good. Pycon was good. Count Caulifla was good. All these units up here were good, right? Like the 0 department here has not been crazy. Like, if you want to argue Captain Ginyu is a 0, I think you could in terms of LRs, just based on the team restriction that he had and things like that. Like this Fruit of the Tree of Might Goku. Like that's when we're talking about like hot ass for a character, that's what we're talking about. Like really bad. And I really don't feel like that was the case too much this year. And again, it's like, it's not like you're not just like dead wrong, but I also don't think that that's like a great take. Like I'm just trying to look this year in terms of like really bad releases, and it's just like, what is a unit that comes out and is just like a straight up 0 that isn't free to play, right? Like you have to be at least fair to characters that aren't supposed to be like absolutely nutty. Like this Kui. When are you ever using this Kui? They have like absolute 0 characters are hard to come by. Like they really are. Like Roshi wasn't a 0. The Golden Week TURs weren't a 0. Like Blue Kaioken Goku is like the first one that comes to mind. Really, I feel like Easy A's are usually the prime suspects in terms of like just bad characters. So I don't think I agree that the Frieza side of Golden Frieza and Gogeta is like super bad, but underwhelming. I'll concede that for sure. All right. Dokkan should implement a system where after a unit is rainbowed, extra dupes could be paid to change 1 to 2 links of that character. Each character name could have a pool of possible links. All Kid Gohans could get Gaze of Respect, all in the family, etc. It would allow you to take off terrible links like Coward in exchange for something useful. You'd be able to actually customize units and build them for specific teams and setups. Interesting. I feel that in application, this would just be too complex for the game and a little too confusing for newer players. But I also would agree that it sucks when a character gets a link like Coward. If we go to, where can we go to links, right? Like if we just look at the link list here, right? Like how many characters in the game have high compatibility? It's just Krillin and Goku, right? Like this isn't a link. Like a character gets this link, it's a dead link. Just trying to think, like just units that you like, links that you never see. Flea is not very common, but this one is a little bit more like look at this, right? Since what, 2023? We'll go 2022, right? Like this Cell, this Chilai, who you're never getting link partners that have this, a free to play, like a banner unit Jocko. Like look at this. This is trash. Since 2022, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. Like 8 units that have Flea in the last almost 4 years. So like that tells you where we're at with some of these links. So the problem would be, where do you set the limit? Where, like, if we go to that first form cell, right? Like, let's use this. I think this is a really good example of a character that we could talk about. The only link here that really, like, what you want to do is take off like Flea and like Shattering the Limit, and then you have like a really good link set, right? Like Big Bad Boss, Shining Speed, maybe Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones, yeah, this link. Yeah, look who's on Attack of the Clones, chat. But like, you don't really need to take that off. It's a good cell link. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like Flea, Shattering the Limit, like these are the ones that you want to take off. But it's like, then what do? Do you give them like the absolute best of the best? Or like, it's just, because then it would just come down to the devs shafted this character, not allowing you to purchase X link, right? It always just kind of comes back to the same thing, where it's like the devs are going to make a mistake and then people are going to be upset about it. But I definitely, like, your idea is good. I just don't know like how they would be able to implement it without it being like just another way for players to be upset about the way that the devs designed a character, right? Where it's like, I wonder what people are saying in the replies. Hopefully it's not like, you gotta be careful with some of this stuff. That would be OP. Yeah, I've been posting on Truth's Hot Take for 3 years. Yeah, okay. So if this is the first time this has ever been mentioned, congratulations, man. You're in the hot take video. A limited unit gifted. Nah. This would kill the game. Whales would just give their friends characters and they wouldn't make money from like players that would traditionally spend like $20 here and there. This isn't a hot take. Everyone agree? Okay, yada, 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 yada. Yeah. Okay, so I think that this system would actually be pretty interesting, but this would require like a huge update. Like right now we're getting rid of the reversal feature. This would be like 5 times bigger than that, right? Like in terms of like what we could do. This would change the way that the game works forever. And also, you would have to consider the link leveling aspect of this, right? Do you get refunded the link skill orbs that you could have potentially used to level up Flea to 10? If you were just like, say that, like, we'll just use an example, right? Like this, we get a cell that's this, like, he's like the best unit in the game, like a summonable first form cell that's Beast Gohan level better than the rest of the game for whatever reason, right? And then you link level 10 him and you get Flea to level 10, but you're like, oh, like, you don't know how, like, you're new, you don't know how to play the game. And you figure out like, oh, I can change his links, but I already link leveled him up to level 10 because I bought the $5 pack and link leveled him right away. Like, do you get refunded the orbs that you used to just put them back into the other link, or like, do you not have to like that? It's a lot of stuff, but I think that like it's a good change, but I don't think it's a change. Like what I like to do with some of these changes that like could be added to the game is like, what is the chance that this could potentially happen? To me, this is 0 because the devs, I just don't think are going to design, 8 separate link sets for the character, because I think like if you're going to do this, you have to do an eligible link for every spot, right? It's not like they're just going to be like, oh, that Flea link is not very good. Let's give them the option to change that, right? Maybe like on LRs, you can't take off legendary power. I think that could maybe be a solution for that. It's a tough call. But I think that this isn't like, that's interesting. I don't hate that. I think that would be a good change, but I think it would just require a little bit too much for it to actually like come to fruition, right? But not a bad take by any means. All right, what do we got? We need a good all LR standalone Vegito Blue. Sure. Not a hot take. That's the thing is with this statement right here is you can get rid of this part. Like you can just get rid of that. Like we needed like a good, I guess that we actually kind of do need that because we already have it, right? What you should do is replace this with summonable. That's what you should do. Okay. I actually like how much villains have been getting love simply because Omega exists and he's the best villain supporter we've ever had. And if any of these characters released at a different point in time, it would be like AGL, Carnival, Omega all over again. Well, the thing with that is that they've done an incredible job of giving Omega Shenron as many buffs as they could possibly give him without just like, it's weird, right? So like I feel like Dokkan, the database would be pretty good for this. So if we look at when Omega Shenron came out, right? In terms of buffs, related to him, since the release of this guy, we've gotten a super easy A for his team, a free to play LR for his team. We continue to go here, sub easy A for his team, an LR easy A for his team. We go up here, an LR easy A for his team, another summonable LR for his team, right? Characters that already existed within the year, like when he dropped, right? Like this Goku Black was one of the better characters in the game. This super easy A Goku Black was one of the better characters in the game. this guy has been able to get like as much help as possible. And I think that that is not just reflective on the year. They needed to do something to get people to summon for this Omega Shenron, because you really put yourself in a spot when you release this Omega Shenron and he's awesome, right? Like this is a very, very good character. But there comes one problem specifically with this Omega Shenron, and it's that he released next to this guy. And when it comes to the players or the unit that people are going to be summoning for, it is going to be this character. 99 times out of 100. The one guy who likes villains more than heroes and says they're tired of fusions but summons for every fusion. Like most players are summoning for this guy first, right? Like it is what it is. They gave them the best the best animations in the game, like all that fun stuff. And visually, this is like the most pleasing character in Dokkan right now, and it's not even close. This is the unit that people are excited about, and it is what it is. So what you have to do in turn is then make this guy's team the best in the game, essentially, to get people to summon for them. Because right now, if you're trying to run a villain team and you're missing Omega Shenron, it's not like impossible, but it's tough. Like this guy's team is just so damn good for like almost every event in the game. And if you do not have him, I think that is where things do get a bit tricky. So definitely with Omega Shenron, it's a character that we have to consider at this point. Like villains getting love is nice, but like I can see your point with like the schedule of releases, but it's also like this was done intentionally because they know just how like relevant a villain team was going to be this year, where last year we didn't really see that because like I guess that goes to your point, right? In 2024, if we go back here, like it's just starting from like the year of the anniversary, right? Like the Broly team Super Bosses I think was pretty good, and that team also got pretty good buffs as well. So it kind of goes both ways, right? Like movie bosses ended up being pretty good. Like really since the start of the 9th anniversary, I think they've been handling villains pretty well. So yeah, like it's good, right? Like I would agree with this though. Like best villain supporter we've had in a while. Sure, definitely. With that domain, it's crazy. Okay. These low hype picks like Tao and Baby Gohan and Goten are actually sick if you are a fan of Dragon Ball, and they need to do more picks like them in the future. Fusions are cool, but yeah, see, that's exactly what I was talking about. Fusions are cool, but there's more to Dragon Ball than Gogeta and Vegito. They are able to add unique and cool animations for these picks and give love to underrepresented arcs. So the thing with this like mindset is it's like not a bad one to have, but it doesn't line up with the general public. And especially it's tough to like, if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, I think you can appreciate this stuff, but it's also like, I can understand, like, it's not as fun to play the game when nobody's talking about it or like nobody cares, right? Because we've been in this situation before, like Tao and Baby Gohan and Goten, like awesome characters. But the problem is just when nobody cares about the game, you can definitely feel it, right? Where it's like, new content drops and it's like, oh, like we just had a world tournament and it just kind of came and went, right? Like LR Chi-Chi was like hard carrying the fact that we had a world tournament recently. So it's interesting. But yeah, like I think as a fan of Dragon Ball, I like seeing everything get representation, right? Seeing Tao get a Dokkan Fest. Like, sure, knock yourself out, right? Like a good Tao is good for the game. A good Baby Gohan and Goten, right? I want there to be a good version of everybody, right? Like as a fan of Dragon Ball, as someone who wants to see this game continue to go, but it also just comes from a bad perspective of like, it's the most exciting times for the community in the game when we get these Gogetas and Vegetos. So it's a bit of a tough conflict of interest, but I definitely can like see where you're coming from with that for sure. I would prefer them to continue to do the fusions, not because I like the characters more, but it's nice when people care about the game, right? Obviously, I cover the game, I upload the game every day. It's a lot more fun when people are engaged with the product, is basically what I'm getting at. But as a Dragon Ball fan, I also like seeing these characters during their periods. I don't mind having a dead period every once in a while, but it definitely extended ones can be a bit of a pain in the ass for sure. Okay, we are back. Your boy had some Qdoba, but we're back. We're ready to go. All right. Dokkan should give us Dragon Stones when we fully Dokkan Awaken and fully Rainbow a character. 1 Dragon Stone for a TUR, 2 for LR, and 3 for fully Rainbow, and also an auto function on World Tournament. I don't know if you should be... The game gives us awards like compensation on this stuff already, and that comes in the form of coins. Like I don't hate the idea. Like more Dragon Stones is great, sure, but the problem is on like whales and stuff like that. It would just be you're getting too much back. Also in terms of like you would want to probably keep your characters rather than exchanging them for coins. You would rather keep them to exchange them for dragon stones later on, right? Or like you just automatically get stones. I don't know. I think that the coin system is fine the way it is. And an auto functional world tournament, it's one of those things. For the board, I agree. For gameplay, I disagree because you will lose if you do that, right? Like that's the problem, right? Like you really will run into some trouble with the gameplay, right? Because like the argument that you're getting Piccolo Jr. and swiping up, like that's a valid argument, but the problem is what happens when you don't get him, right? You're going to lose. And the whole idea is they are trying to gauge the competitiveness of the player base. They're not trying to see who can sit on auto the whole time. For casual players, I think this would be a great choice. I guess if you want to have the option, sure. But the problem is there could be a way for players to exploit it being on auto, and then you wouldn't really have to be able to gauge the tournament, right? Like maybe you put it on auto and then you get a deduced amount, like you get a point deduction, right? Maybe like of 5% or something. So if someone is grinding on auto, there's no possible way that they can win the whole thing if they're playing on auto. But again, like even with that, you're going to lose your win streak if you're playing on auto because there's going to be turns where you don't get Junior. You're going to be in the finals. The guy in slot 1 is going to be type disadvantage, and you're not going to have used items or anything like that. And you're going to get tagged by the attacks in the first slot, right? The World Tournament is not a mode where you have damage tanks. It is all about just doing damage, using items to work around if you need to. I just don't think like this would be a great feature. It would be good for convenience, but in actual like play, it would end up doing more harm than good because then you lose the competitive aspect. And this is completely from the perspective of the devs. I would love an auto function for World Tournament, but the problem is I just don't think it would work. My compromise would be we put an auto mode on the board. And then for the gameplay, you just have to do it yourself because at the end of the day, like that's what they're trying to do. It's not a mode of like, we're just trying to give players rewards. We're having players compete for rewards. And when you put auto mode into it, you are taking out the competitive aspect. Players are just pressing start on the fight, right? They're not doing anything else. So I understand what they're thinking with World Tournament. Would I like an auto mode? Sure. But I think that it would do more harm than good. Okay. LR Int Gohan has the best animations of the entire game and does good damage. So I'll give you this part right here. They do good damage, but the best animations of the game, no. It's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And to me, it's not particularly close right now. Just in terms of just complete. Every super attack for Gogeta looks good. There's not really like a thing where you're like, oh, this could be better. His active skill, his intro, his super attacks, all perfect. He has the best animations of the game. But it also is subjective. If you don't like them, then that's on you. Hot takes / oh, this could be is this going to be a long one? Oh, it is. Okay, here we go. All right. he is like, I read it very quickly. He said my absolute hot take. Okay. Selecting which path for the orbs if it's all AGL and rainbow. If I want, let me just do the 5. Yes, this has always been a problem. We'll continue to read. I'm sorry. Stop giving me 4 rainbow and 1 color. It's just dumb having it that way unless there's all rainbow orbs. It helps maximize those who really require them. Yes. We'll take this one at a time. Yeah, I agree with this. Characters favor orb paths in a specific way at times, and it can be very frustrating because you could miss out on something for your passive system, right? Or your passive skill. Like you could be missing out on a requirement for your orbs. This is always something that's in the game, and you have to consider it. And I would 100% agree here. If it's as easy as just like putting an arrow like there would be on the board, let me go to the left side, let me go to the right side, that would be good. Just more control over the gameplay, right? Less elements of RNG in Dokkan are good, right? That is something I 100% agree with. This is, to me, like, he does say general stuff, so this is not the hot take, but I do agree with this. Something about how damn long certain events take to complete, not the Festival of Battles. Yeah, this is really like an anomaly, the Festival of Battles. I really like the event, but it's also like, if people will say like, oh, the festival, like, they complain that events are too long because of the Festival of Battles. Like, that's just a one-off thing, really. Like, events, there's no other event like the Festival of Battles in the game. Like, let's be honest here. The All-Star Raid is the closest thing to it, but that's a whole different thing. But other EZAs and events that take legit 20 minutes per run if you don't have meta teams. This is a phone game, after all. You don't need to spend actual days grinding events. I think, like, the problem with this mindset of this is a phone game is like that gives them an excuse to dumb things down like to a point where the game isn't fun just because it's a phone game, right? Like at the end of the day, it's a video game. It just happens to be played on the phone, right? Like I can understand the perspective from like a casual player of like, yeah, this is a mobile game. I'm not investing my time like I would into another like a console RPG, a PC RPG, a sports ultimate team, right? Like because that's on console, it's a very graphically heavy experience, right? All of these things, completely fine. Like if you have that perspective, I completely get that. But I also think, like it's also it's tough to say like I don't like how without the meta teams events take a long time. Like because at the end of the day, they're trying to get you to summon for the meta team, right? But sure, right? You want faster events, I get that, but it's just the way that things are, right? Especially this year, it's been pretty egregious, like just in terms of how high things have gotten, like HP numbers, attack numbers. There's been a real power creep this year, and you have, can we say you have Beast Gohan to thank for that, right? But it's also Tech Vegito. Like Tech Vegito is the big culprit, where a unit that's doing like 1.5 billion APT because of all the counters he's doing. It just a unit or bosses have to have a lot of HP. It is what it is, right? But sure, right? Like, but there are like different, like the Gohan fight doesn't take 20 minutes without a meta team. The Trunks fight doesn't take 20 minutes without a meta team, right? It's a hard balance to find, and it's something I'm sure the devs are thinking about. But sure, I don't hate any of that. My absolute hot take is this game has arguably felt worse to play post 10th Annie. Pretty much all of the above mentioned sucks, but the lack of actual fun and innovative events really bogged the experience down. I think that you could make the argument that post 10th Annie minus GDC has been a bit of a letdown, considering how big the year has been. And the problem is, I'm guilty of this too, where the free 10th anniversary LR really kind of muddied the waters and made things like made us have rose tinted lenses for a really long time. But nowadays, like AGL Vegeta into like Super Gogeta, at times he feels like you just can't run him at in specific events, man. Like, and I'm sure a lot of players, a lot of you guys watching this video probably picked this guy up with those coins, right? Like, I mean, how can you see this and be like, yeah, whatever, right? Like, like you don't have them. Of course you're picking them up, right? I've said this. I recently just did a video on it. I think it said this sucks, Dokkan, right? Like I made a video complaining about content this year. I have not been a fan of the fights because what I've said is you're not going to agree with me because you talked about the like just we don't have the same mindset here in terms of that, but that's completely okay. Like I don't have a problem with that one bit. But the Festival of Battles to me has been my favorite event to go back and replay. Like what I'm doing is I'm playing another game on the side, right? Like I'm playing something with the homies, and in between, like, you know, intermissions and stuff, like in between rounds, in between games, I'm doing my turn real quick and letting it play out, right? Doing the stacking experience. Then when we get to around the 2024 portion, I start to lock in and actually like play, right? But it's like the Supreme Magnificent Battle stuff. Like, sure, I really don't think this is like a horrible take. I think year 10 for the game has been pretty good with GDC and stuff like that, but I have not been a huge fan of the events and the fights, but like that's completely okay. Yeah, I really don't feel like this is the worst take ever. But like to the point, like this orb path thing is not something like just kills the game for me and makes it unfun, but it can be frustrating at times for sure. But if you want to say that you haven't enjoyed the game post 10th Annie, like I completely get that, right? It felt like this year had like if we had like a pie, right? Like I feel like 5 slices went into the 10th anniversary, and then the remaining 3 were for the rest of the year, and 2.5 of those were GDC, right? Like GDC was really fun. I really enjoyed the Global Dokkan campaign, but I get that completely. Okay. All right, what else do we got in here? Crazy how a simple matching ores game can turn into what we have today. Damn right, man. Not gonna lie, I didn't think Dokkan would go that far if it didn't add active skills, standby, tag mechanic, and other things to spice things up. Yeah, it's not really a hot take, man. Yeah, innovation and new ways to use characters and new mechanics are what keep this game going. If every character was still a TUR with one super attack, we wouldn't be here today. But like the introduction of the LR, the introduction of the tag mechanic, everything that you said, right? Spicing things up is how things are going to go. And in 2025, that's what we saw. The tag mechanic, like, it opens up the door to so much, right? Like if we're just going to go from LRs, right? Like we're just going to look at LRs in specific. When we look at the tag exchange, which is something they've been doing all year, right? If we go like back here, we are due for a Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 tag, right? We could potentially see, like, if we, like, just take all these characters, for example, right? We got the tag version of this LR. Imagine they do a free-to-play tag Trunks and Broly, right? We could do like an Evolution Blue, or like a base Goku and base Vegeta for the Tournament of Power. That has like some sort of UI implementation. Imagine like a tag Ginyu Force character. Like how many? Like imagine being able to tag into like every member of the Ginyu Force. That would be so cool. That'd be so toxic just because of tagging 5 times. You'd have to tag like 4 times over to get to gold though, but that would be sick. But if we go to like the joint forces stuff, right? Like a tag Goku and Vegeta from the Kid Buu fight, that would be so immersive and so cool, right? Not a standby version like a tag where you can go back and forth like what they did, right? They played rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. All of that fun stuff. The same thing with the revival of F, right? ROF stuff. All of these things. Goku and Gohan from the Cell games. Trunks and Vegeta. Goku and Vegeta from the Metal Cooler movie, right? The GT duo. All of these joint forces characters could just be done as tag characters. And when we have that, it implements so much stuff to the game, where we get a whole bunch of new categories, 2 separate kits for characters, 3 when they fuse. It is just so much potential with that tag mechanic that you have at least another few years of Dokkan Festival and Carnival LRs just on that mechanic alone. Because again, nobody's going to complain aside from the people that just have to complain about like a tag Goku and Vegeta for Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? We got lucky this time that it was standalone, but it's the same kind of principle, right? Where you have these characters that can tag, they can go back and forth, and they're going to be very impressive. So that is yeah, like again, I don't think this is a hot take, but you're not wrong. Like that's the thing, right? If you're going to give a hot take, you have to be able to hear, like, you got to be willing to accept that you might be wrong, right? But that's okay. Like, a lot of lukewarm stuff in here. But again, I do appreciate you guys. It's fun to have interactions to see what you're thinking. But again, this is like, you're just objectively, like, correct here. Like, when you say this isn't even like, if they didn't have active skills, if they didn't have intros, they didn't have all of these different things, the game would have been done by now. So, innovation is key. And that's why I think that this game still has a long ways to go. Okay. The GDC events mostly sucked. They were too short to really set up and just relying on pure RNG to clear the run with unfair mechanics like lock. Yes, this guy doesn't like the Goku Black and Zamasu fight. I'd be inclined to agree. I don't like locking fights, but that's okay, right? Like, you have to... Just because I don't like a fight doesn't mean that it's a horrible fight, right? I think that I just don't like when this game is so RNG heavy, you also throw on top of that, like, oh, by the way, you could lose to a lock and you just have to reset, right? At least with the Goku Black and Zamasu fight, that fight has unlimited attempts, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I didn't really like the GDC events. I would agree. I had fun with the game just because of like how hype Gogeta 4 was. I thought the characters were really good, but the events didn't really match the vibes of the characters, in my opinion, just with how good they were. The only thing Dokkan needs to do to the friend system is to give us a friend copy of our current leader. Yeah, again, like that's a cold take at this point, man. It's such a simple fix, right? Just copy the leader for friend points. I'm not the one who came up with that. I don't know who came up with that, but like we all know at this point, copy the leader with friend points. Done. PUR Baby is one of the most hype releases of the year, but no one is ready to understand that. That's just not true. To me, it's a shame because this is a hot take. In a year where we saw some apexes of Dragon Ball, right? The father-son Kamehameha, like one of the top 5 moments of the series, probably. Super Vegito, another one. Super Gogeta. Vegito Blue, right? Fusion Zamasu, Goku Black. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, right? This character alone, right? Like, we see all of these things, and then for the TUR scene, it's Baby. Like, this character starting off as Super Baby 1 isn't great, but the thing is, why this is so frustrating to me is that finally get the Super Baby 2 Dokkan Fest, right? Like, this is something that the community has been talking about for ages. We've wanted the Super Baby 2 Dokkan Fest for who knows how long, right? Like, you guys get the idea. And when we finally get him and people don't care, like, that sucks. I fear that that's what's, like, he's nowhere near as much of a meme as LR Kid Buu, but, like, could this happen with LR Kid Buu? Maybe. I don't know. Where it's just like, we finally get it, and people are like, but this is just not true. Like, you're trolling. All right. I'm predicting we'll find... You can't make that up. I'm predicting we'll finally be getting LR Kid Buu post-anniversary. However, Dokkan's going to make him the most mid-yellow coin LR as a final middle finger from Omatsu, since we kept begging so much for him. Yeah, I would really like if Omatsu And I don't really know how much control, like, it's fun to say, like, Omatsu this, Omatsu that, but I don't think Omatsu is in control of, like, okay, so LR Kid Buu is this spot, right? Like, he has a voice, I'm sure, as the producer, but it's a lot, there's a lot of people involved, like, with what the schedule is. And the problem with LR Kid Buu is his time slot has probably already been allotted, and they know where they're going to release him. And it probably won't be a Yellow Coin LR, but yeah, I like Omatsu feels like he's such a troll, man. Like, when the 8th year anniversary will always be my favorite, where we had maybe some of you guys were playing here, maybe some of you weren't, but he said on a video, like, the characters for the 8th anniversary are going to be characters that have never been featured during an anniversary before. So where does your brain go when you hear that sentence? This is what people were talking about at that time, right? Like, and we ended up getting some of this, funny enough, but like, the discussion started to ramp up. It was like, oh, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, he's never been anniversary, right? Omega Shenron has never been anniversary, right? Like, all these different things. And what did that lad Omatsu do? He said people might have taken that a bit out of proportion. It was just a different version of Goku and Vegeta. And all right, so what's funny about that is 7th anniversary, Goku and Vegeta. 6th anniversary, Goku and Vegeta, right? Do you get the idea here already? 10th anniversary. Who's that? Goku and Vegeta? Right? So it's just funny. Like, the man that Omatsu is, he is a troll. So LR Kid Buu being like a Yellow Coin LR or being ass, that would be like the least shocking thing ever, because that's just who he is. But we love him, right? Like, Omatsu's the best. He's always out there hooping in the streams and stuff. So shout out Omatsu. We love Omatsu. But yeah, predicting we finally get LR Kid Buu. That's hilarious that we talked about that, and then it's the very next. It's every time with that stuff. Okay. I just started playing this game about 6 months ago, so I'm not too experienced on it yet, but the thing I hate the most is the awakening system. It's kind of annoying when I want to test a character. I have to grind like 30 minutes of auto of a boring event. I wish it was a hard event, just to give you all the medals immediately. Yeah, again, not a hot take here, really. That's okay. Yeah, like, the awakening system is so dated because, you know, back in the day, it was like a whole thing. It was a whole ordeal to get a character Dokkan awakened, and we've just kind of gone past that. But they've also made changes to that system to make it a little bit more bearable for players, where we have just a few different options, right? Like, the power level bonuses could potentially give you a drop. We have the boost system, and then we also have the support missions. And especially if you were playing during GDC, that was something that I recommended that you do, is you went and played through every Dokkan event to get those extra medals to kind of save you some time in the future. But yeah, I would agree. Like, Dokkan Awakening is definitely a relic of the past, but it's something that they've kept in the game just because it's a core system. And I don't think it would be like the most required thing for them to get rid of. But I completely understand what you're saying. I would agree with that for sure. Like, it sucks that you have to do that, but it's also just the way that it's just the way the game is, right? They do SSR arts for a reason. They do TU arts for a reason, right? It's the way that the game is. I guess it's too much of like the core for them to get rid of it. Okay, we'll do a few more here where this video is running long. The people who beg and scream for underrepresented characters are the same people who throw a biblical level tantrum when said characters are added to the game. Yeah, we talked about this. Anyways, Possessed Bros are an awesome release, and I'm glad they exist. I've wanted that Gohan face grab attack he did on Vegeta since forever. Yeah, so like, I don't want to take away the excitement from somebody who summoned for this character and was excited when I say that people don't really care, right? That's like another thing that you have to consider. But for sure, like, it's just, objectively speaking, is less exciting for most players. But yeah, I think this is true. Like, it's something that people say they want until they get it. Now, is the user here being a little dramatic with biblical level tantrum? Sure. But for every one of those guys, there's also somebody who was like, yes, we finally got the baby Dokkan Fest. They summoned, they pulled them, they're happy, and they're enjoying the character, right? So, like, both perspectives can exist. I just happen to be it's a bit jaded for me because, like, I see a release like TN and I'm like, no, people aren't going to be caring about the game. And, you know, I'm a YouTuber, right? Views are everything. So it's like, when people aren't watching the game, it's like, damn, I hate that character. He killed the game. So, but I get that for sure. I think I mentioned this earlier where it's like, you know, oh, we're just going to use an example here, right? Where's the, where's the Princess Snake Dokkan Fest? Oh my God. Like, we were getting another Vegito, and then we get the Princess Snake the Dokkan Fest. Her banner sucks until you don't summon, you don't summon. So, can't have your cake and eat it too, folks. That's the lesson here. But yeah, I'm happy that you're happy about the LR. That's awesome. Like, I'm happy that someone is happy about it. Okay. We deserve a Dokkan Fest Tapion. Sure. We are to a point where, like, again, when Mercenary Tau is a Dokkan Fest, I think Tapion at this point, like, that's a tough one. Tapion or Mercenary Tau? I hate that I have to say that. I think more people will be excited for Tapion just because he has a sword and, people like swords. And Wrath of the Dragon's a fun movie. I guess my hot take is I genuinely believe that Dokkan despises the Super 17 arc of GT. LR Super 17 on release equals fumbles on Easy A, barely runnable for another few weeks. Fusing Super 17, buns. I don't think we have a Goku from the fight. I think there is an 18 that is from... I think they're free to play. No, we have a Goku from that fight because there's a super attack animation in here. We could probably find this on the wiki. There's 1000% a Goku or I'm all over the place. Okay, where is... So if we go... I think it's this one. 18 is in this super attack. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So this is from This is from the Super 17 fight right here. Yeah. I'm not crazy. So we do have it, right? It's a general pool SSR. So we do have it. It's just like, like when it comes to Android 18, you may be right. Yeah, Android 18 is weird. Like, let's see. Android 18, anything from GT. This is where you're correct. It's just because it's, no, right here. Yeah, she's right here. Yeah. So, I want to say you're free to play. Yeah, so so this is 18 from GT, right? Like, not very much representation in terms of summonable characters and all that fun stuff, but it's a good looking version 18, huh? Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Okay, we'll do like 2 more. LR Tech Gohan and Piccolo were great on release. They are similar to LR Physical Omega, where they are great for short form events and had top 10 defense upon release, and the ability to stack on their 12 key. Also, hello, college video. This is a weird example of a character I just was unable to pull on the JP account, and I really don't have a ton of experience with them. But to call them Omega now, because like LR Omega had like a whole team. This guy, like, I don't even know where you're running this character. That was the problem with them. I think that they had a pretty impressive kit, but the problem was that they did not have like a lot of good setups to be ran on. But like, if you want to say they're good, sure, knock yourself out, right? We need more OG Dragon Ball units in the game. I disagree. we need them, but not as premium Dokkan Fest that headline a whole campaign. That's what I would say. I think they kind of had it right with the World Tournament thing. Also, both LR Tech Broly's fail me way too often. They're just old at this point, right? Obviously not the new one. The new one was clearly designed just for the festival, and if you don't like the festival, he's going to let you down. I think that's the verdict on them. I believe it's better to summon on all banners and get at least one character, but only 150 stones max, so you don't miss out on a good character and depth. No. I do not agree with that. Because if we go right here, let's take a classic look here at some banners, right? Come on, Dokkan Info. Let's get a move on here. I'm clicking banners. So if we look at this banner right here, 150 stones minimum. So you're not guaranteed anything. And unless there's a guaranteed feature, you're not guaranteed anything. There are 3 usable characters on this banner that I would consistently find myself potentially using, and that's Physical Panel, GT Heroes, Super Easy A Majin Vegeta, and the new character. So if you do 3 multis, and on all 3 multis, you pull this Hellfighter 17, you're pissed. And you also, like, a lot of times, like, monthly, like 150 Dragon Stones is probably what you're going to be getting. So I just don't agree. I do get what you're saying, like, having more options for characters, but not at the cost of summoning on horrible banners. If you want to do like a Dokkan Festival rotation with a guaranteed featured, I think that's different, but not every single banner. I disagree with that. You definitely want to just be summoning on banners that have the best value for your account. There should be more stuff for Dragon Stones for absolutely. Dokkan Fest Bulma is a realistic possibility that people should be looking forward to. LR Bulma was a really good example of like she was just so good that people liked the character. And I wouldn't really hate a Dokkan Fest Bulma. I think that she could have a potential like Vegeta tag or something like that would make the character really fun. And with Bulma, it is such a unique case where you look at Videl, and especially like her role from the Buu Saga onwards, where she has a very important role in the Buu saga right away, with like being kind of like one of Gohan's batteries for like socializing and stuff like that, and then obviously becomes a romantic interest in all these things. But she goes from like a pretty like important point of the plot, and then eventually she kind of fades a little bit, where she eventually is just Gohan's wife, and then eventually the mother of his child, right? Well, of her child as well. But she doesn't really feel like she has like significant moments past like her figuring out Gohan arc, right? And Bulma is like a complete opposite of that, where she is integral to the plot basically the whole way through, where she meets Goku from the start, and then the time machine shenanigans. It's like there's so much going on there, and I love Videl as a character, right? Like I'm not. This isn't like a slight at Videl, but the Dokkan Fest that Videl got was simply just her training with Gohan and asking her, "Oh, you like short hair, right?" Like that's at the end of the day, that's what it was. Bulma has way more plot significance for a Dokkan Fest than Videl would. So, shout out to Videl. No shade whatsoever, but a Dokkan Fest Bulma, I think, would make a lot more sense considering she is the most important female character in the series. We can cross out female. She is one of the most important characters in the series. So Bulma as a Dokkan Fest, I wouldn't hate whatsoever. Filter for characters that have exclusive equipment. I'm giving this one a heart. Absolutely. Yeah, it's really annoying trying to find that, especially on JP. Okay. Again, appreciate you guys all this way. We'll go quick right here. Yeah, like this is what we were looking for, right? Oh, this is my boy Zach. Yeah, Meat Banner. Yeah, he's got a lot. Yeah, he gave us 8. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, I appreciate everybody leaving comments on this. Again, a lot of comments. So if you want to read through this, you can. The community post is on the channel. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy this one. Let me know down below. Do you agree with any of these takes? Do you disagree with any of them? All that fun stuff in the comment section. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Consider becoming a YouTube member down below to further support the content. It's not possible without you guys. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.